mynews.studio.
In just 1 year, China added 430 gigawatts of new wind and solar capacity. That's enough electricity to surpass the entire European Union's consumption. Yet at the same time, China's coal sector is actually shrinking. So, how did they manage this?
Today's date is February 3rd, 2026. Let's take a step back and look at the bigger picture. China now has over 1,800 gigawatts of renewables, wind and solar making up more than 60% of its power capacity. Why does that matter? Well, for the last 18 months, their CO2 emissions haven't increased. For a country of this size, that's never happened before.
Right. And it's not just how much they're building, but how fast it's happening. China is meeting a national demand of over 10 trillion kilowatt hours, and out of that, 4 trillion kilowatt hours are coming from renewables. That's more than the EU uses in a year. So, what's driving this rapid expansion?
A lot of it comes down to infrastructure. China's grid upgrades have been massive, about $80 billion invested in ultra-high voltage transmission lines. Picture moving wind power from the deserts in the northwest all the way to industrial centers in the east. But that raises a challenge. How do you manage power that's so spread out and sometimes unpredictable?
They're using AI to tackle that. Now, forecasting models can predict when and where wind and sun will be available, so the system can balance supply and demand in real time. And it's not just generation. Storage and consumption are all coordinated. That's how they're getting around the intermittency issue.
But let's talk about the cost. Solar prices in China have dropped by nearly 90% per kilowatt hour in the last decade. Do you know what's behind that? Companies like Longyi have started using base metals instead of silver for solar cells. It's not just improving technology, it's changing the entire supply chain.
And we have to talk about coal. By the end of 2026, coal's share is down to about 31%. That's a major change for an economy that used to rely so heavily on coal. But moving away from coal brings up another issue. What about all the people working in those plants?
A lot of coal plants are being converted to serve as backup power. Workers are getting retrained too. Some are moving into grid management, others into energy storage roles. Is it a smooth transition? Not really. But with renewables being cheaper now, the momentum is there.
And this shift isn't just changing China. By lowering costs, they're making renewables more accessible for other countries, especially those with fewer resources. Could this actually set a path for global decarbonization?
China's showing that when you align policy, markets, and technology, you can get past the typical obstacles: cost, intermittency, scale. Other countries are watching closely. The big question is, will they try to follow the same approach?
There's also the matter of grid investments. These upgrades aren't just about moving electricity, they're making the system more reliable overall. With ultra-high voltage lines, trading between regions, and new flexibility markets, they can handle changes in weather and still keep things running smoothly. But how do they manage efficiency?
It's through virtual power plants and market reforms. Renewables now take part in both spot and long-term energy trading. The effect is less wasted energy, lower costs to the system, and more stable power, even as renewables play a bigger role.
So, to wrap up, China's rapid move into renewables is reshaping not only its own economy but also the global energy landscape. Emissions are flattening, costs are coming down, and we're seeing a new model for clean energy at scale.
And the rest of the world is paying attention. Could this be the turning point for renewables globally? We'll just have to wait and see.
Thanks for joining us as we unpacked China's renewable energy transformation and what it could mean for the future of decarbonization.
Thank you for listening. This episode was brought to you by mynews.studio. You can try it now for free.